genetics, in my opinion. So an eighth grade boy is either a cross country runner or a football player. And
Okay.
you have the skill set to see what we see.
Mm-hmm.
It's just lifestyle, routine, and medications or disorders can pull you away from that genetics. But that is what we're more of the football playing type eighth grader is going to be genetically more likely to have diabetes with mismanagement of food and not the cross country runner.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so back to the inflammation. So is inflammation, I mean, there's all sorts of stuff that triggers inflammation, right? Like mismanagement of food, sleep, like what else? What are some no-nos, or what are some things that cause inflammation that we should all be watching out for?
Alcohol.
Alcohol.
Alcohol, training, right? Training is
Training.
one of the biggest drivers of inflammation, right? But training and stress and stress, having high stress jobs, having, high stress lifestyle, having high stress in your exercise, and then not properly fueling that system correctly.
Okay, wait. This is where he starts going over my head. We got to back this up a little bit. So when we talk inflammation, I twisted my ankle gets swollen, inflammation. And then there's like if I eat some food that I'm allergic to, I kind of swell up. And then I get a really hard workout, so I'm kind of stiff with some lactic acid. Are those three different like inflammation sources? Or?
They are three different sources of inflammation, but they're all inflammation,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And so when you talk about consumption of food and you're eating poor quality fuel, you're talking about inflammation that spans across all of your cellular biology.
Okay.
Through and through,
Got it.
right? It's not just isolated to your gut. That is spreading throughout your system,
Yes.
right? And so you introduce poor fuel, you're going to have inflammation. And some people are so accustomed to living with that inflammation day in and day out,
Yeah.
they don't even realize that they're
I
living
totally
with
get
it.
that. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so then suddenly they start cleaning up their food and they were like, whoa, I had no idea that my feet just constantly hurt. I just thought it was an age thing. I realized it was a nutritional thing.
Wow.
But I see that a lot with training too. It's like all of our training systems out there today that most Americans are adopting are under the anaerobic umbrella. They're very high in intensity and they're shorter in duration.
Yeah.
Because we as Americans go, I don't have a lot of time.
Sure.
So I need to expend the most amount of calories in the shortest amount of time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I don't want to be burning calories that I've eaten, so I'm not going to eat.
Okay.
And that drives inflammation.
That's a big no-no.
Yeah.
So
big no-no.
you would think you're but it's making the situation worse.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, got it.
It's making it worse because the long-term trajectory of what you're really doing to your body is you're forcing it to adapt on no fuel.
Which stresses all your hormones, your organs, everything.
Correct.
Aging. You're aging yourself.
Absolutely. And, when you're talking about fasting earlier, just to kind of reiterate, the fasting that we're not really fans of doing is the early morning fasting. But if you fast from dinner all the way until your next meal the next morning, that's perfectly fine. And I'm saying breakfast. So you get up, you eat breakfast. I wake up at 3:30. I eat at 3:45, right? So I'm going to have something. But I have fasted from the time I had dinner at 6:30 until I have something at 3:45 almost every single day. That is a fast. It is just not the way that we have chose to adopt it as of late,
Got it.
right? But that is what fasting was ultimately intended to do and mean.
Yeah.
Seasons change, days get longer, days get shorter, and during that time, fasts become longer in the fall and the winter, and days get longer, and the nights get shorter. In the spring and the summer, then your fasts are shorter. That's what it was ultimately intended to be, but we really kind of, in my opinion, bastardized it by saying, oh, well, it's convenient to not eat early in the morning because you're hungry, you're overstressed, and you're overcaffeinated.
Got it. So in general, is there a basic rule of thumb like, hey, everybody should fast for 24, 48 hours once a year, twice a year, every couple years?
In my opinion, if you are consistently fueling your body with good quality food,
Yeah.
you're staying properly hydrated day in and day out, the system's running clean.
Got it.
There's no reason to try to reset your metabolic function.
So only when you get cattywampus.
Correct.
Okay,
And
got
so
it.
if you go on vacation and you have done a lot of things over the last 5 to 7 days that you typically do not do,
Yeah.
then yes, doing a fast can kind of help reset that cellular metabolism back to baseline. It's not that it won't reset itself if you get right back on your plan and do exactly what you used to be doing. It just may take you 2 to 3 days to do that versus maybe a hard 20 to 24-hour fast.
That makes sense. Okay, cool. And then foods that cause inflammation. Go.
Yeah. So foods that cause inflammation, they span the spectrum, but the things that we really think about are highly processed foods,
Okay.
right? But remember, like my gastrointestinal tract doesn't support high insoluble fiber. So eating
Vegetables.
lots
Vegetables. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's why we brought her.
Yeah.
Translator.
eating lots of vegetables for me is inflammatory.
Okay.
Okay, that's not the normal, right?
Yeah.
But for me, that is the case. So it's remembering that all foods can create inflammation in particular individuals.
Okay.
Okay. So I think we have this ideology of what is good, clean food. And the reality is that anything can be bad for someone.
Fair. Okay, cool.
So, but the foods I think typically that are roped into the scenario of highly inflammatory foods are highly processed foods.
Okay.
Right. And so you hear the saying all the time of people shopping the perimeters of the grocery store.
Yeah.
And that's because they're reducing the process of the food. The more that you shop through the center, the more process, the more additives, right? Then that you're getting into your foods. And then those additives or those preservatives, those dyes, whatever they may be, are going to be more prone to driving inflammation within your system.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do we